My name is Ken Hughes, and I am the kind of person who doesn't use all his vacation days and periodically gets informed by his superiors that if I don't use them, I will lose them. And in 1996, I was working for a weekly newsletter, and at about the time that the government declassified Nixon's abuse of power tapes, more than 200 hours of Watergate-related matters, I was told that I had many days of vacation that I had to use or I would lose. So I thought I would spend some of them listening to Nixon's tapes. I went one day and I spent the whole day listening, and I noticed that after the first day that these were out, the reporters had left. You know, there's 200 hours. There's no way that somebody working on a daily deadline could possibly listen to everything that was interesting. And I loved this stuff because I was born in 1964. So when Nixon was reelected in 72, I was 8, and when he was out of office by 74, I was just 10. And I was a pretty bright kid, but I found it utterly confusing. I found two things utterly confusing: the Vietnam War. How did this happen to America? You know, I lived in a very tranquil suburban community in northern New Jersey where you could walk out late at night and kids were safe and everybody had jobs and everybody, went to good schools. And it was, it was a very conservative place to grow up, and a very safe and secure place. And yet, on our television, you'd see this madness. There'd be the Vietnam War, which the adults could not explain to anyone's satisfaction, and they were all very unhappy with. No matter where they were on the political spectrum, the left wing was unhappy, the right wing was unhappy, the middle was unhappy. And then Watergate came along, and it just confused the heck out of me. I couldn't understand it. And so there I was, sitting in the National Archives in my early 30s, getting finally to hear what was going on, or what had gone wrong with the Nixon administration. So I started taking all sorts of notes and started freelancing articles to various publications about what I had found. And I got the history bug because I would have to put all these random conversations into historical context. And I started with an article in the American Journalism Review, and then that led to an article in The Hill, and that led to an article in the New York Times, and then one in the Washington Post. And I thought, wow, I could be a reporter and an historian and write about something that I have found utterly fascinating since I was a child. So I figured, I'm going to do that. I like that a little bit better than editing a weekly newsletter about human resources, which was what I was doing. When I'm at an archive, I just find all the boxes that are relevant, and I go through each box from beginning till end, just looking at every document to see if there's anything of interest to me. I like clearing boxes of declassified documents the way they say that the Soviet army used to clear minefields, by marching straight through them. That's my favorite way of doing it because you never know what you'll find. I love the treasure hunt aspect of looking through these. So when these Johnson tapes came out, I just looked for every tape that could have any kind of bearing on the bombing halt in the 1968 election, and listened to them all. And I just got, surprise after surprise. And, it's delightful. And it is something that I wish more historians did, because the White House tapes are this priceless resource, and the Miller Center and the Presidential Recordings Program have put archival quality sound files of these tapes online at whitehouse-tapes.net, also at millercenter.org. And anyone who wants to can download these for free and listen to a president's secret conversations about matters of war and peace, about matters of life and death. And you no longer, in these instances, have to rely on someone's memory of a conversation, on someone's written account of a conversation, on someone's summary of a conversation. You can hear the conversation itself. And that, for me, is just the ideal way to study history. My major piece of advice for anyone who wants to find out what's on the White House tapes, or even what's in an archive, is to dive in, is to really find the time period that you're interested in, or find the subject that you're interested in, and just listen to or read everything having to do with it. Because people often approach research with tunnel vision. They know what question they want answered, and they know the answer they want, and it's not difficult to cherry pick. But cherry picking is tunnel vision. You wind up missing important information that can really change your understanding of everything else. There's a lot on the Nixon tapes that just completely changes our understanding of how Nixon ran the Vietnam War. They completely there's a lot on the Nixon tapes that completely changes our understanding of how Nixon reacted to the leak of the Pentagon Papers. Turns out Nixon was very worried about his illegitimate classified secrets being exposed. Not so much worried about national security being harmed, as worried about his personal political security being damaged. And that's a crucial lesson, because one thing that all reporters and historians who deal with declassified information find is that the government abuses its classification authority and conceals things that the public has a right to know, and that the only reason they're classified is they're embarrassing to somebody.